Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this is Wine Library TV. So you can tell I'm not solo today for the first time in a very, very long time, and I have two phenomenal guests. I think you're going to really enjoy this episode. We have some very intriguing wines from California, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But first, I need to mention something about Friday's episode. I did not mention that Tony Vincent was a huge maniac who's been watching WLTV since episode 2 or 3. So a couple of you that emailed me and said I sold out to some artist or some music, I didn't. This guy's one of us. He's a friend. And speaking of friends and one of us, I have two great guys with me today, Paul Smith and Dick Vermeil, and we've got 4 phenomenal wines, 3 from On the Edge Winery and 1 called Jean-Louis Vermeil, and we'll get into that in a minute. But first, let me introduce these guys. They have a lot of history in the wine business. So, Paul, why don't you introduce yourself? Let Vayniacs know a little bit about yourself.
Vayniacs?
The Vayniacs.
Okay. Yeah.
They bite too, so be careful.
Well, I've been in the wine business about 35 years, and in '99 we started our own winery. Prior to that time, I was with 1 or 2 other wineries in Napa Valley.
Smaller.
And we use fruit from my wife's family's vineyard, which is first-class fruit. They're one of the largest remaining private growers in the valley, and I'm really fortunate. Almost 30 years of marriage.
Still hanging in there.
Still hanging in there. But it's great fruit. So.
And Dick?
Well, I'm born and raised in the Napa Valley in Calistoga, and I used to grow up helping my grandfather Vermeil make the Vermeil family wine, but we never had it on a label. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I felt someday, timing right, I would do that. Yeah, out of respect for my family and my heritage.
Did you ever have it in a bottle, Dick?
Oh, we had it in a bottle, but no label. I still have some of the empty bottles.
It's the way to go. It's huge marketing, which I'm a huge fan.
I went to Paul because I grew up with his in-laws, the Frediani family, in the 170-acre vineyard there in Calistoga, and his wife, Mary Sue.
It's worth a little bit more, the land than it used to be, huh?
Considerably. And I asked Paul if he would be interested in helping me with this project, and he jumped on, and our first release was '99, and here we are going to be tasting 2002, and he's done a great job with it. I'm very proud of it.
Great. Well, we've got 4 wonderful wines. Obviously, it's an exciting episode for me because I'm sure you know Dick Vermeil is a legendary head football coach. Unfortunately, not for the Jets. We would have preferred that because maybe I would have the Super Bowl ring that has avoided me. So, yes, I see it. I see what it is.
Put it up close to the camera.
I see it. I see it. And it's a Rams, which is one of my good friends, Garrett Van Fleet, which we mentioned here, a high school friend, a huge Rams fan. So, but it's obviously my 2 worlds colliding on the show today is a lot of fun. So with that being said, let's get into the first wine. And the first wine today is On the Edge Zinfandel 2002 vintage. Now, what I like, the Frediani 1956, is that when it was planted?
That's when it was planted. We don't use the term old vines because there's very little significance to the term.
It's being abused.
I think it's being abused, yes. So 56 was the year that Gene Frediani, Dick's good friend, and my father-in-law planted that vineyard. He's no longer with us, but his wines are.
Good legacy to have.
These are dry farmed, head pruned, in a killer piece of dirt. Killer
25 US
piece of ground.
Yeah.
How big is the vineyard planted?
This block is about a 2.5 acre block. Got it.
Now, this is, what do we have here? What's 14.5% alcohol
content? It's there.
Yeah, it's not hiding. Tremendous nose. It has an enormous amount. Almost has like a rhubarb pot, a little rhubarb on the nose, which I like quite a bit. Dark cherry, really significant licorice on the nose as well for me, which is intriguing, but very bright fruit on the nose.
I love it with the great pasta sauces. The red sauce is boy, with the blend of the alcohol and that red sauce, to me it's outstanding.
I had it last night with Chinese food.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Soy sauce and all, huh?
Soy sauce. Classic Wine Library TV term.
Yeah. I like the licorice term. I never heard that before, but it fits. I hear strawberries a lot about this wine.
Yeah, no question. What I like about this wine is that it has enormous grip, a lot on the mid palate, and it finishes extremely dry for a Zinfandel, where a lot of Zinfandels are trying to be candy fruit bombs in California. This is kind of a throwback. And we know we like our throwback wines and our throwback players, right? All the
it disappears. Now, it does disappear.
Yeah, I mean, it's got tremendous. it's really an old style Zinfandel to me, more so. It's got very bright fruit that attracts a lot of people, but I think there's a lot of people who are old world wine fans who are going to be intrigued by this wine because it's got really intriguing earthy tones on the finish, which I like quite a bit. Almost like escargot-y on the finish for me, which I find extremely intriguing. What I think is that you're seeing a throwback Zin, in my opinion. Is that kind of the approach you're looking for, or not really? Am I completely
I
off
wouldn't
base?
put it like that, but I could see where someone else may.
Right.
I would.
Somebody who doesn't know anything like me.
No, not at all. You drink a lot more Zins than I do, I'm sure. Our objective is to make wines that are balanced and that are enjoyable to drink right now, but will age with cellaring. That's our objective.
I think that you're accomplishing that. I think the balance in today's world, and I talk about it a lot on the show, is the old and new world regimes. You know better than I do. I call it the tail end of it. How much wine has changed over the last 10 years? Things have become so much more, instant. Our society now is, emails and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. And so, everybody's looking for drink now. And I think it's nice to see what you guys are doing here, and that's what I mean by that old world terroir-driven finish that I'm feeling here is something that feels significant that can be put away, unlike so many other Zins that are just completely fruity and fun, but going to last, 36 months.
If that. We're just now releasing the 04 Zin, and there are a lot of 05s out already, and 06s. So we have a tendency to release late because I feel I want to keep them in the barrel longer.
Nice.
This is all European oak. It's not. There's no American oak in here. The oak is in the background, and that's our objective: is to provide balance and ageability in all our wines.
I think you definitely give some rinses here. I think you accomplished that. I think again, I think people that are very much into red Zinfandels are going to be it's a little rinse stick. Yeah. Are going to be really pleasantly surprised by that effort. Again, it's not somebody who's totally in tune with a $35 Turley Zin, but it's a nice wine to me. At the end of the day, it's a well complex, balanced wine to me. It's an 89 point type wine, 25 bones. It's not run out and kill somebody and buy this bottle of wine, but definitely if you're looking for something that is showing a different style of Zin, and most importantly, this has upside to it, and which I think is by far the most important factor to that Zin, and something that goes tremendous with a meal. Now let's go into probably the most. Go ahead.
Can I have one comment on the Zin?
Yeah.
Right now, I feel our best Zin is a 2001, and it's we didn't even put it in any competition until 2006.
So you're thinking the evolved.
And it took a gold in the competition. It was in San Francisco Crown. So, they do take some time. Yeah, our wines do take some time.
Great wines do, and I think that's something that's lost a lot. So let's go into the 04 Charbono.
Charbono.
Something that, we're excited about doing on WLTV. This is a $35 U.S. retail wine, and on the edge Charbono. 2004, and let's 14.5 alcohol. And tell everybody about Charbono, because that's clearly something that I know a lot of people have never had before.
Charbono it's a very rare grape. There's 84 acres planted in North America. The Fredianis may be one of the largest, maybe the largest grower in the world, perhaps. They're certainly the largest grower in California. They have 10 acres.
So not a lot of it.
That's so cool.
There are very few wineries that produce Charbono, but there's a lot of interest in it right now. A lot of spotlight, a lot of the big boys coming after it. But it's too bad, guys. Go plant some.
And when was this planted, the Charbono?
Some of these vines are 70 years old.
God, this has an amazing, interesting nose.
It is a very interesting grape.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful.
it really does.
It's been traditionally used in Europe as a blending grape because of the middle. The weight in the middle and the color. It's black.
It's pitch black. It's pitch black.
There's a handful of wineries here that have made it as a varietal.
There's a beautiful cinnamon component that I get on the nose, which is so unusual in red wines. I find it phenomenal. It's very dark chocolate coming through as well. Cocoa bean kind of aspect on the nose.
In a tank, it's like blueberries, like fresh blueberries. Yeah. It's just you just sit there and inhale this stuff. Great stuff.
I had some great blueberries yesterday. I'm big on blueberries.
This has the same finish.
Is that right?
Gentle finish, it just sort of disappears.
Very, very big in the mouth without being very tannic and harsh in the finish.
Right.
That's typical Charbono. And the color, it's black.
This wine is extremely extracted, huge mouthfeel. I mean, it totally takes over your entire palate.
Right.
It's really quite incredible. It's an onslaught on your taste buds. Very, very dark components, very dark fruit. Speaking of the blueberries, I even get more of like a real ripe blackberry, dark chocolate mocha components. That cinnamon that I smell is even a little bit integrated on the finish. This is the kind of wine that people need to explore. This is what we talk about, expanding your palate. People don't know Charbono. People haven't experienced it. But anybody who enjoys ripe, huge, massive wines, whether they're California Cabs or Australian Shirazes or what's going on in Spain these days, will be blown away by this effort. This is big-time stuff. Very extracted. To me, this is a clear 91-point wine. 35 bucks is, it's not, again, a steal of the world, but this, in the way wine is today for $35, is not only delivering tremendous wine, but what I love about this, it's true. It's real. It's true to the area, and it's a true example of what great Charbono can be. And again, it's very rare. For us, we've had success with Summers in the past, which you're probably familiar with. But this is a head above it. There's more extraction. There's more complexity in this wine. This is a super effort. This is pretty awesome juice.
It is good. It's a nice change. You've been drinking your Cab, your Zin, and all of a sudden, there's a difference.
This is clearly
it's got that ripeness
animal.
on the finish that is so different. This is nice.
And it will age. Charbonos tend to age very
What was the
nicely
first
as well.
vintage of Charbono you've been producing under this label?
The old one was the first we produced.
Okay.
But from this vineyard used to sell back to Inglenook in the 60s when Inglenook was the only Charbono producer.
Unbelievable.
Before it went corporate and had to make chocolate.
Now,
with
Inglenook,
vanilla.
we're talking about Inglenook. Some of the classic wines of Napa Valley are Inglenook. You go back to the 47 and some of the great things of all time. Of course, most of you watching it think about Inglenook with a big jug and $4 for the entire jug. It's really unfortunate that brand has become that kind of thought process.
Chocolate and vanilla.
Yeah. Yeah.
No more Charbono. It's a shame, but that's...
In fact, I think
Now, this is
Gene
not even
has
released,
in his old
right?
wine cellar cases of some of that old England.
Yeah, there's some of the old Inglenook there.
We need to bring that for a show.
I've got a bit too.
2004 Syrah, 14.7 alcohol content, $30 US bones. And this is not released yet?
It'll be released in June.
Okay.
This is our first Syrah.
My first tasting right here.
Yeah?
You actually
Other
did
than
in the barrel.
In the barrel.
Yeah, you had convinced me that we should
Yeah.
go ahead and add yet another product to our line. I mean, we make 1,200 cases, and within that 1,200 cases, we make 6 or 8 wines.
What kind of oak are you using on this?
This is primarily Hungarian.
Yeah.
There is it's Hungarian and French.
How new is it?
Some of the Hungarian is brand new.
Yeah, you can really get it through.
Forward.
You're definitely getting the oak
That's my
monster
first
coming,
taste.
making
Other than
its
in the barrel.
appearance.
Other than the barrel.
This is probably the woodiest wine we've ever produced. I try to keep the wood in the background, but this had enough body and enough tannin, frankly, that I just kept it in longer than I normally would. The Zins, I try to keep the wood way in the background. The Charbono, it just dominates it. Any wood you put at it, any wood you throw at it, it dominates.
Yeah, this definitely has a one of the things that I always get on the nose when there's a lot of oak is almost like a milky characteristic, a dairy kind of driven on the nose. I can always pick out oak that way, but on the mouthfeel, it's very lush, young, and enormous. Like a punch in the mouth by like Hacksaw Jim Duggan's 2x4. It's just that oak that you get. I mean, it's there, and I assume that's going to calm down over time as it settles.
Yeah,
and get integrated.
It'll
That's what you see,
age.
right?
It'll
This was
calm
just
down.
bottled.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not really even released yet.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting some. Really, on release, we'll ship some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
I mean, the fruit is very true. Very clean fruit. Understood. How long has this been planted, this Syrah?
This is a fairly young block.
Yeah.
This is just coming in. The oldest Syrah on this ranch is probably 10 years old. But as much as I would like to go rob from some of my unscrupulous competitors, my mother-in-law will not allow me to do that. So
against the rules, house rules.
No, they're good guys and they're making great wines, and she respects every relationship. So we planted this block particularly for us, and
It's very nice.
this is the first year we produced Syrah. At first year we bottled it. It's probably a 7-year-old block or so, 7, 8, somewhere in there. And I'll tell you what, this is Calistoga is this particular area in Calistoga is just incredible for delivering intense red wines. I mean, it's not only us; it's the other people buying fruit from the Fredianis and the other growers and the other wineries that have established a presence in Calistoga. Tremendous, particularly the reds.
Yeah, I mean, the fruit is so clean,
Yes.
obviously, and again, I think it's a matter of being so youthful that the fruit's got to really integrate with the oak over
Sort of
time.
like a rookie running back,
Yeah, some rookie running backs are good. Did you see Leon Washington? He was really good for us this year. I loved him. Now we got Thomas Jones, so hopefully that will be addressed.
Speaking of rookies, Dick and Carol worked harvest this last year as,
Yes, let's talk a little bit about
rookie
Great fun.
winemakers.
Tell me the difference between working a harvest and working a training camp.
Oh, gosh. Not nearly as intense, believe
Right.
me. But I drove tractor in the morning for Jeannie Frediani, and then we finished usually by 11 o'clock. And then Carol and I would get in the car, we'd pick up a lunch, and we'd go to the winery up in the Spring Mountain, up behind St.
Which
Helena,
is
right,
such an amazing area.
That's right
Yeah.
below the top. That, therefore, the name on the edge.
On the edge.
Part of the property in
the
Sonoma
edge.
County, part of it in Napa County. And then we would help Paul. And when you're a one-man winery, it's easy to help.
Sure.
And you don't have to know anything because I'm steam cleaning, I'm pressure washing, I'm dumping this, and Carol's, what was she, pump overs?
Pump overs.
Pump overs.
And she was helping with analysis. And
Oh, God.
you
yeah.
guys were
Oh, really? Into the
absolutely
Switching wines and,
doing barrel work.
no, it was an experience we'll enjoy the rest of our
It was
lives.
great having them.
Are you?
Carol says you're coming this year.
Are you
Dick.
coming this year? Dick?
Oh, yeah. You'll
Yeah,
be an annual.
it's an annual thing.
There you have it, folks.
Annual.
Annual.
Sign the deal.
You
You
bet.
want to dump that? I'll give you.
Yeah.
And we really have fun. Plus, he's a musician. And then there are a few nights, excuse me, we
nice.
would go someplace and he and his partner that played guitars, and we sit there and listen to them sing and produce great sounds and drink good wines. Really
Yeah.
great
Tough
atmosphere.
life.
Different than training camp.
A little
because
different.
After we eat training camp, we go into meetings until
Yeah.
11 o'clock. Then staff meetings till 11 till 1.
And instead of analyzing wine, you were analyzing who you were going to cut. And
Right.
Who you were going to
Evaluating practice tape and, hey, this guy looked
too.
great today. He's improving. Let's keep with him and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Let's get to the final wine, which is the Jean-Louis Vermeil 2002 Napa Cab. And this is a 65 U.S. retail wine, 65 bones, as we like to say.
You know, the thing about this wine, believe this or not, in Kansas City, they have an annual event called The Crush. It's a fundraising thing to beat paralysis. A friend of mine, Brian Williams, puts it on. And we would serve the wine. Paul came in, and they would have some of the better-known, big-name cabs there, and put them there, and
Like your
have
friend Don
tastings. Yeah, like Don.
Bryant.
And have tastings out there, and invariably, a high percentage of the people would like the Vermeil Cab every bit as much as they would like any of the other more big
And it
name.
wasn't blind.
No, it wasn't blind.
And you're awfully popular in Kansas City.
Yeah, I know, but these people
know.
were being honest. Right? In
In New
not to
York,
lie. Yeah.
it could be a little bit different.
But I was to the
Or
dinner
in
the other
Oakland,
night.
actually, in Oakland, I guarantee you'd probably come in last.
Yeah, I don't know. People that like wine,
Right.
that really sincerely like wine, and people that come to those events do come to appreciate
question.
good wines.
No question.
And I think they're pretty sincere and honest with their comments. And I've had people say the nice thing about
The
this
nose
wine
is ridiculous.
is that anybody that likes Cabernet would like this wine.
Mm-hmm.
It has a personality that will blend into a lot of palates, and they'd appreciate it. And
What
we
gave
had-
you the name? Because I know there's a
Jean-Louis Vermeil was my great-grandfather. He brought the family name from France, and the label on the front here is Gatier, France, right above Nice, about 15 to 18 miles out of Nice on the hill. And then my dad's name was Jean-Louis Vermeil, so we decided to
And you
name
got
it
Dick.
in respect. And I got Richard. Yeah. We don't use the name Dick much
I
anymore.
understand. Richard.
But your middle name is
Is Albert, yeah. Yeah, but anyway, that's how it all came about. And it started with the interest of the French side of my family, making wine for the family. But the Italian side of my family is the family that brought us to the Napa Valley where I was born, and actually owned some of this property that these grapes come from today.
No kidding.
They're owned by the Fredianis now.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
Yeah, so it's a nice, rich history that I like to sort of keep going.
Sure, it's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Some of the same fruit.
Yeah.
Some of the same. The ground is producing fruit that we're using
Well,
in this wine that your grandfather used.
These vineyards being as old as they are, I left Calistoga in 1956. And Gene,
When it was
in the old
planted.
days, when he had
Yeah,
problems
Yeah, it's cool.
with frost and all that, in the old days, you went out and fired up the engines with the props, and you did all these other things, the wind machines and all that
Smudge
stuff.
spots.
And he would come get me.
Drag you
and
out of bed.
My brother, and drag us around, and we would go out and help him get things going because some of these frosts hit, they need help.
Yeah.
So
And you wonder why the
You were
vintages are
drafted.
better now with
that's
technology.
all the things they do. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, you and Gene were,
Very
Gene.
close.
We lost Gene before I really got to know him. But
1978.
from what I hear, yeah, we were married
Premature.
in '79, and everything I hear was that Dick was the illegitimate son of the Fredianis.
Well, if he hadn't passed long ago, we would have had a wine venture together. You know, there were times he would call me about property available
In the valley.
in the valley. It was so inexpensive. But I was making $8,500 a year as assistant coach at Stanford. Or
Right. Who
something
needed that, right?
Yeah, how could I ever do that? And but anyway, he helped enrich
In
my
'78 you were in
thinking.
Stanford, in '80 you were in the Super Bowl.
No, not 78. I was at 68 in Stanford.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say
But
that was
anyway.
a quick little run.
But he was probably one of the, other than my grandfather Vermeil and my dad, was the one that influenced me
Into the wine.
into the wine.
Yeah.
And
Well-
appreciation for what the people go through that make it. You know, I mean,
Oh.
the work ethic. You talk about football coaches and, you know, it's like a dairy. Certain things need to be done every day.
It's
You better work.
agriculture. Yeah, I mean, it's
Farming, we
it's
always talk about on the
relentless.
show. People, always wonder why. I mean, the weather needs to be a factor. What I'm getting on this has one of the most intriguing young Cabernet noses. I mean, it's just a real testament to the overall fruit quality from all these wines. Just an enormous explosion of red fruit. Beautiful cherries,
Really rich.
raspberries, a beautiful strawberry component. Very dark. Once again, there's a clear similarity through all the wines of that underlining kind of mocha flavor that I'm getting subtly on the nose. Mocha coffee. I mean, there's definitely a cocoa bean kind of aspect to me that I get on every wine on the nose, which I love.
Yeah.
Which
You know,
really
this-
dark chocolate as well coming through.
This
on
wine,
nose.
these grapes, if you had a good arm, you can throw a rock into Isley Vineyard
Right.
right across the street.
Literally.
Yeah, pick it.
Even
lane.
that's
I have a
such
pretty good arm.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So
you would
I could
make
do
it.
it.
You would make it, though. You haven't been able to make the Jets preseason camp yet.
Though I might have as good of an arm as my boy Chad. It's not too,
We'll wind up.
Exactly. That being said, I'll do what I do best. I'm not a football player. I'm going to taste this wine and analyze it. Just extremely clean. All these wines, at the end of the day, we talk about this all the time, well made. We mention it. These wines are all extremely well made. What I love from this is that you can see a clear non-interference with the land and the fruit. And I think that's huge. I think that's something that's been extremely lost in the wine world, where I think that you've done a tremendous
None
job.
of these wines are filtered. They're all
There it is.
basically
I mean-
handmade. This particular wine is
These
about
are
an
true
eight barrel
wines.
lot, 9-barrel lot.
I mean, you're getting the true DNA. This is not a science project within in the room that has become such a common theme. And the beauty of this fruit, it's very dark, very rich. I mean, it's extremely drinkable right now, and and has the backbone and tannin structure to make me think this wine will last 15, 20, 25, maybe even 30 years because it's got that component. It's got that richness, and the finish is extremely long and structured. I'm going to go 92 plus on this wine. It's extremely well made. Again, $65. This is a special time wine. This is not popping, fishing in Pennsylvania kind of wine every day. Maybe for Dick, but definitely not for most of the people watching. And, this is a special time wine. But if you want true wines, if you want to understand really what made Napa and parts of California special and gave it its legendary status that it now has in the wine world. These are the wines you may want to seek out because it's nice to see whether they're my favorite wines of all time or not, whether they're your favorite or not. This is an opportunity which is becoming rare and far and few between to try true terroir from the region that it comes from, and that's a big deal. And for me, that's the biggest. As fun as it is to have you guys on, it's far more exciting for me to see true wine come from this area in a place where it's become less true.
It has changed.
Well, you can spend more, a lot more, and not enjoy the glass of wine anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean that's scary. You can buy a $300 bottle and get
which I've done and do.
Yeah.
Because I'm a collector.
Right.
And you get hooked on keeping the vintage
Absolutely.
and the vertical. Oh my God!
Absolutely. You don't want to miss one, right?
I
It's
know.
like the collection. It's like
But there's passion in this.
We're
There's
just
passion
putting
in it, that's
a
all.
shipment together of these wines that Dick sort of stores in California. And
He won't give you
how much did you make that first year when you assistant coach at Stanford, Dick?
6,500.
65. Yeah, well.
We insured the shipment for more than that.
America is good. I'm always telling you America's good, right?
You know, my wife and I have a slogan on our refrigerator: "Life is too short to drink cheap wine."
That's damn straight. That's a great way to end this show. So, question of the day. What is the truest thing that you have in your life? Because you, with a little bit of me, and definitely guys like this, we're changing the wine world, aren't we?